بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
والنجم إذا هوى ما ضل صاحبكم وما غوى.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين، أما بعد. فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقل رب أعوذ بك من همزات الشياطين وأعوذ بك رب أن يحضرون. صدق الله العظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, addressing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, said, وَقُلْ رَبِّ أَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ هَمَزَاتِ الشَّيَاطِينِ. Say, O my Lord, I seek refuge and protection from you against the whispers of shayateen. وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ رَبِّ أَن يَحْضُرُونَ. And I also seek your protection from shayateen being present with me. This must be a very important order, because of which Allah is addressing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and ordering him that, O Muhammad, you must say this, you must recite this, you must make this dua. Which means that always make sure that you protect yourself from the whispers of shayateen and from shayateen being around you, from the temptations of shayateen, from the strike of shayateen. وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ رَبِّ أَن يَحْضُرُونَ. Ya Allah, I also seek protection from shayateen being with me, around me. So are there shayateen around us? And who are shayateen? As we may generally use the word jinn, the jinns that are not Muslims, that are not believers, are all shayateen. Are they with us? Are they around us? When we look into the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we can tell very clearly that they are always everywhere. Which means they live with us in the same homes that we live in. They share everything with us. You know, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when you go home, recite the dua for entering home to keep the shaitan out. This is to keep those jinns away. He says, when you start your meal, start them with the remembrance of Allah, with the dhikr of Allah. Why? He tells us very clearly the reason for that is because otherwise the jinn is going to eat with you. Shaitan is going to eat with you. They share everything with us. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us in the hadith that إِنَّ لِهَذِهِ الْبُيُوتِ عَوَامِرِ. The hadith in Sahih Muslim, that in your homes you have others that are also residing and living there. There are some others that are living with you in your home. They are sharing your house with you. When he taught us the hadith or the dua for going into the bathroom, what did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? The hadith in Sunan Tirmidhi, Sunan Abi Dawud, other books of Sunan. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إِنَّ هَذِهِ الْحُشُوشَ مُحْتَضَرَةً. These bathrooms have jinns in them. They live in the bathrooms. They stay in there. This is why it's always good to keep the door of the bathroom closed. Don't keep the doors of bathrooms open all the time, because there are jinns that live in there. They stay there. We don't need to be scared. This is not to scare us. This is so that we know how to protect ourselves from them. There is a hadith in Sahih Muslim. One of the tabi'een, whose name was Abu Sa'ib, he says, I went to visit Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu. When I entered, he was performing salah. So I sat down. While I'm sitting there, I heard something moving under his bed. I looked down. It was a big snake. So I got up with the intention of killing the snake. So Abu Sa'id radiallahu anhu, during the salah, he pointed to me to sit down, not to kill the snake. When he finished the salah, he pointed to a house in the neighborhood. He said, can you see that house? I said, yes, I see it. He said, there was a young man who used to live in this house. At the time of the Battle of Khandaq, he had just got married. This young man just got married before the battle. And he went with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Every day, somewhere around the midday Zohar time, he used to take permission from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to come and visit his wife. One day when he took permission from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to come back home and visit his wife, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, keep your weapons with you because I don't trust Banu Qurayza anymore. He carried his weapon with him and he came home. When he arrived home, he saw his wife who was standing at the door of the house without the hijab. The man is full of ghayra. I don't know how to translate it. We may, close this word, we may use jealousy. That he wants to protect his family's honor, his own honor. How could you could be out without covering yourself, without proper hijab? So he was going towards his wife to attack her, and she said to him, go in the house and see what's in there. He went in the house to see a big snake sitting on his bed. Today he's carrying his weapons with him, so he takes out the spear and he hits the snake. Then he went out and he puts the snake on the spear on the ground. Right there, the snake jumped and attacked the man. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu says, those who were present, they tell us, we don't know who died first. Right away, both of them died. The snake and the man. We don't know who died first. So we said to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Rasulullah, this is what happened to this man. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring him back to life so we can talk to him. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, no need to do that. Istaghfiru li akhikum. Do the dua of istighfar for him now. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Inna bil madinati jinnan qad aslamu. In Medina we have jinns that have accepted Islam. When you see any of them, then warn them for 3 days not to come into your house. After that, if you see them in your house, then you can kill them, because that is shaitan. If he is not really a snake, then he is a jinnah. That is not Muslim. What Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying is that this man was killed by the jinn. Not necessarily that this jinn was a bad jinn, but because he was attacked, so he attacked back. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is instructing the Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in that when you see anything like this in your house, keep in mind that it could be a jinn. If he is a jinn, then there are two possibilities. He is a Muslim jinn or he is not a Muslim jinn. If he's Muslim, if you warn him 3 days, you will find out by that. If you warn him 3 days, if he leaves, then he is a Muslim. He listens, he obeys. After 3 days, if he doesn't leave, that means he doesn't want to leave. He wants to harm now. He is in the mood of doing something wrong in the house. Therefore, you have a right to attack him. How do we know that we get any effect of these jinns being with us over there in the homes? They're eating with us, they're drinking with us. To the extent as the hadith tells us, nighttime, you keep any of the food items open, jinn will go and have some effect on it. Will blow in it, will throw something in it. He's a jinn, he can do it. So they put something in it that will have a bad effect on you. And therefore Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, nighttime, make sure you cover all the food. Not only that, even the empty pots, don't leave them open at night time. Cover them with something or turn them upside down. Because jinns are going to put their effect in it. And then you use the pot without washing it, you get the effect too. What is some of the effects that we see? And I will tell you, being in this field is not something rare that I'm talking about here. I see so many people, it's a large percentage of people that I see that tell us that when they tell us the problems that we have, you see the effect of these things there. The effect of the shayateen, the effect of the jinn on them. How do we figure that out? Many people have a problem. And that is, when they go into the house, when they walk into the house, that is the time when their mood changes. This person out of the house was very happy, smiling, enjoying everything, sitting with his friends and cracking jokes, laughing. The time he steps into the house, everything changes. He feels upset, sad, doesn't like anything, doesn't like the food, doesn't like sitting with the family, doesn't like talking to anyone. And it's not limited to husband and wife. And husband and wife is very common. As soon as you start talking to your wife, you realize that everything is changing. Your own mood have changed. If you really think about it, after you leave home, a couple of hours after you leave home, how sad you were in the house, how upset you were when you were in the house, and how happy you are when you're out. This will tell us about our souls. I see people, mashallah, very happy life. These are the people who are living a very beautiful life. But the time they walk into the house, everything changes. He doesn't feel like talking to his family. As I said, it's not limited to husband and wife. It goes even to parents. You don't like sitting with your parents. You don't like talking to your own parents. As soon as they tell you something, you start getting angry, upset. Why did they say this? Or why did she even mention this? I don't like talking to them anymore. It comes to your own children. You can't take your own children. And you just keep on shouting at them. You just want them to do something that in reality is not practical. What is all of this is from? Is the effect of those shayateen living in our home. And when they live in our home, this is what happens to us. It's the effect of them being with us all the time. Sleeping with us, eating with us, drinking with us, sitting there with us all the time. Another effect, which is also a very common effect, and many times we don't realize the reason for it, is the person doesn't like doing any dhikr of Allah. You don't like reciting Quran. Doesn't feel like praying any salah. especially doing some extra nafil prayers. You don't feel like doing it at all. You don't feel like making wudu after using the bathroom. It's not because it's difficult. It's not because water is cold. It's at our comfort level. But you don't feel like doing it. Because shayateen don't like tahara. That's why they stay in the bathroom. They don't like tahara. And therefore, they would want the person to stay unclean so they will have closer relation and connection to the person. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in a hadith narrated by Imam Muslim rahimahullah in his Sahih, on the authority of Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "La taj'alu buyutakum maqabira." Don't make your houses, your homes like a graveyard. فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَنْفِرُ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ الَّذِي تُقْرَأُ فِيهِ سُورَةُ الْبَقَرَةِ. Shaitan runs away from the house in which Surah Al-Baqarah is recited. See what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us here. He says, recite Quran at your home. And not only just some short surahs. Recite Surah Al-Baqarah at your home because Shaitan runs away from the house in which Surah Al-Baqarah is being recited. And if we think about it ourselves, when was the last time Surah Al-Baqarah was recited in our home? We need to recite the surah really. We need to recite it in our homes. We need to recite it in our cars. We need to recite it everywhere where we spend a lot of time. So that we keep the shaitan away, these jinns away from us. In another hadith which is on Sahih Ibn Hibban, Sahl ibn Sa'ad radiyallahu anhu narrates, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, a person who would recite Surah Al-Baqarah at night time for 3 nights, shaitan will not come to his home. And a person who would recite it during the daytime, shaitan will not come to the house for 3 days. Of course, we may not be in a position of reciting it every 3 days. It's not easy for every person. But sometimes we feel the need of it. When we feel things in the house are not working out properly. At least at the beginning stages, when we pay attention to this topic and we start working towards this direction, maybe at the beginning then we want to start reciting it every 3 days to have a strong protection. And after that, once in a while, as we hopefully recite the full Quran, so every time you start the Quran, then you get Surah Al-Baqarah also as part of it. And if there are 3-4 people in the house, each person is finishing the Quran, maybe in a month time, let's say if we take a long period, in a month time, so every month it was recited 3 or 4 times because each person is finishing one Quran. So it's very important that we pay attention to this. In a hadith, which is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari, Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu says, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that a person who would recite Ayat al-Kursi every night, لَن يَزَالَ عَلَيْكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ حَافِظ. Allah will assign an angel to protect you. By reciting Ayat al-Kursi, Allah will assign an angel to protect you. وَلَا يَقْرَبَكَ شَيْطَانٌ حَتَّى تُصْبِحَ. And shaitan will not come close to you till the morning. Of course, when you compare the 2 hadiths here, one is Ayat al-Kursi, the other says Surah Al-Baqarah. Of course, right away we want to recite Ayat al-Kursi. Sure, we should recite Ayat al-Kursi as a protection. But as I said, sometimes we may need some stronger dose. Sometimes this small dose is not enough. You need a strong dose now. So, we need to do that Surah Al-Baqarah, the whole Surah sometimes. And then, in normal situations, every night, we get used to reciting Surah Ayat al-Kursi as we get into our bed. After every salah, we recite Ayat al-Kursi. These are very beautiful protections. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us a simple protection also on a daily basis. In fact, every time when you feel the effect of the whispering of the shaitan. What is the effect of the whispers of shaitan? That I can't concentrate in my salah. I'm starting having bad thoughts. I don't like anything in my life. It seems like everything is going miserable for me. Like, these are some of the effects that shows that there is some attack on me. And shayateen enjoy seeing people being disturbed. Now, imagine when we are away from Surah Al-Baqarah, away from Ayatul Kursi, away from reciting the Mu'awwadat, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas every day. And then music is being played day and night. What is this music? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that this is the instrument of shaitan. This is what he uses to attack people. Music and singing are the tools of shaitan. And as soon as the person gets into that, shayateen gather around the person, they start dancing. If the person can only see what's happening around him at that time, he may die out of fear. But because he can't see, he's enjoying it. So really, these things are inviting the shayateen, inviting the jinns around us. Simple protection. When we feel the effect, which means a whisper comes, let's do this haram, let's do that haram, right away. Of course, it's not the time to recite Surah Al-Baqarah or Ayatul Kursi even sometime. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. What does this mean? I seek Allah's protection, refuge in Allah against shaitan. Imam al-Jawzi rahimahullah, explaining the beauty of A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, narrated a beautiful story. He says, a scholar asked his student that if you get attacked by shaitan through the whispers of shayateen, what would you do? He said, I'm going to fight him. Ujahid. I'm going to struggle and fight. He said, you realize that he continues attacking you. He said, I will do more mujahid and more struggle. I'm going to fight him even harder. He said, then you realize that he's fighting you even harder. He said, I'm going to fight him harder. He said, okay. If you are passing by a place where there is a dog, and that dog is a guard dog, someone have his dog as a guard. So the dog starts barking at you. What would you do? He said, I'll try to push the dog away, keep the dog away from me. So he said, then the dog keeps on barking even more. So I said, I'll try harder to keep the dog away from me. He said, the dog now barks and tries to attack you. He said, I'm going to do whatever I can to protect myself and keep the dog away. He says, now you're taking a very, very long route in life, which you don't know if you would succeed or not, because you keep on fighting and fighting, so you're standing over there, you don't know how long you will have to stand there. He said, the easy way is, when you see the dog is barking at you, right away call the owner of the dog. As soon as you call the owner, and the owner will call back his dog, the dog will stop. Will let you go through. He said, these shayateen and jinns are the dogs in this life that are trying to protect us and stop us from following our deen. Come on our way of following the deen. Rather than keep on fighting with them and giving them an importance, call the owner of them. And that is A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Call Allah to protect you against them. And right away you will see the protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is coming. There is a lengthy hadith narrated in Sunan al-Tirmidhi and other books of Sunan. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Sayyidina Yahya alayhi salatu wassalam to give a talk to Bani Israel and teach them 5 things. Yahya alayhi salatu wassalam postponed doing it for a few days. And he thought, maybe a certain day that would come when more people will come, on that day I'm going to give this talk. And he was busy with his ibadah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a wahi to Isa alayhi salatu wassalam saying that I told Yahya to do it he didn't do it yet, you go ahead and do it. Yahya alayhi salatu wasalam, as soon as he found out, he begged Isa alayhi salatu wasalam not to do it before he would do it. He said, I'm afraid I would be punished for not fulfilling the order. Let me go ahead and do it right now. Yahya alayhi salatu wasalam went to the place where people would gather, and he gave that talk. Told people 5 things that Allah ordered him to teach them. One of the 5 things was that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, tell Bani Israel that تذكر الله سبحانه وتعالى يأمركم أن تذكروا الله جل وعلا. Allah orders you to do a lot of dhikr of Allah. And the example of that is رجل خرج العدو في أثره صراعا. There was a man who was followed by his enemies, and the enemies were running faster than he could. Right there he sees a strong fort. So quickly he runs into the fort and locks the door on himself. Now, regardless of how fast the enemy can run, will not be able to get to this man because he is now protected by the fort. This is how a person protects himself from the shayateen, that when he does the dhikr of Allah, even though shayateen are around him, he can't see them, they see him, and they run faster than him, but now he has fortified himself, which means he has built a strong fort around himself through the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and therefore they cannot attack him. This is the protection. Continuous dhikr of Allah. And these beautiful du'as that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us for every occasion, for entering the house, for starting the meal, for drinking something, for getting into our bed, to the extent that even when a person is having a relation with his wife, there is dua for that. Entering the bathroom, there is dua for that, so that we be protected. In one of the hadiths where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned the dua of entering the bathroom, he said, إن الشيطان يلعب بمقاعد ابن آدم. Shaitan plays with the private parts of human beings, which means jinns, they come and play there in the bathroom. So it's very important that we protect ourselves from the effect of shayateen. This is the effect that is really keeping us away from our own responsibilities towards our family, not allowing us to enjoy our time with our families, with our children, with our wives, with our parents, with our brothers and sisters. There is dislikeness over there. There is hatred there. When you go out with your friends, we see that you're okay. Everything is fine now. Eating in the restaurant with friends, enjoying it. But eating with our own family, with our own children at home, you feel just like you want to finish it quickly and run away. These are the effects. May Allah protect us. And may Allah allow us to appreciate the beautiful teachings we have in our deen, and appreciate this beautiful teaching that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has offered us, so that we can keep ourselves under this protection against all of those shayateen, and always do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqi sayyidina wa habibina wa nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ameen ya rabbal alamin.
مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير